But today I want to start out by taking a step back and thinking about how we think about design, how design can serve as a channel for our motivation, and how if we design with a sense of purpose, we can find our individual direction, we can fuel innovation in our businesses, and we can deliver change to society as a whole. So I'd like to actually start out by telling a story. So in the book, The Design of Everyday Things, author Don Norman tells a story about a friend getting trapped in a doorway. Now you might ask, how do you get trapped in a doorway? It just opens and shuts, right? Well, this particular doorway was actually, slides, yay. This particular doorway was actually a row of 6 glass swinging doors, followed immediately by a second identical row. It was designed this way to reduce airflow and maintain the indoor temperature of the building. So his friend went into the first set of doors, and then he got distracted and moved a little bit to the side, and he got to the next door and pushed, and nothing happened. So he tried to go back outside. Nothing happened there either. So he tried the inside door again. Still nothing. And before long, he panicked. It wasn't until some friends came along that he was able to actually get through the doorway. So Norman tells us this story to help us look beyond the aesthetic beauty of the everyday things we interact with and consider what can happen when even simple things like that doorway are not designed to be intuitive. But I think the story also tells us something else, that design isn't about just a single object, but how many different objects can work together as part of a system and how that system can impact people's lives. And I think the story also says something specifically to me. I became a designer because I want to open doorways for people. And I believe that when design is approached with not just a sense of empathy, but also a sense of purpose, we can design. Oh, what's happening? Okay. All right. Right. So not just the design of everyday objects or a collection of objects, but the design of whole organizations and networks. Because when design is driven by a sense of purpose, it can help us with all of these things. So let's see here. Just want to make sure we're seeing the same thing. Okay. So my father actually was a civil engineer, and he loves solving problems. I'm just going to put this here now. Good. He designed bridges while in the Army, and then later he worked with Gillette, creating a working environment that was both comforting and productive. And my mother was a nurse. She was committed to caring for people and helping them. And so my parents taught me that through ordinary actions, we can make a positive impact in people's lives. So for me, it's biology. I'm kind of hardwired to empathize with people and want to create solutions with them. And growing up, I loved art. And so in college, I decided to focus on design, which I quickly learned at its core is about helping people find new ways of looking at things. After college, my career began to take off, and I was thrilled to be helping people and businesses solve problems. But then my personal life developed problems of its own. I had to face the addiction of a loved one. My marriage fell apart, and one of my children was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, all before I turned 35. And so I was left to face my own anxiety and the joys and challenges that can come from parenting 3 children alone, all while running my business. And these things didn't wear me down. If anything, they gave me an even greater sense of empathy for understanding the pain, confusion, fear, and loneliness of others. They gave me a sense of direction, a sense of determination, of urgency, and definitely a sense of purpose. Well, the good news and relevancy of my life falling apart is that it actually became increasingly useful in my work as a designer. Now that might sound a little crazy because when most of us think about design, we think about something like that door. We think about designing for beauty and utility. And to be clear, I love that kind of design, it's essential. But as we know, design has come a long way. And as technologies become more central to our lives, businesses look to designers like us to help create their websites and their software and their mobile applications. And at first, it was about making these things look beautiful, but then it became increasingly about making sure that these things would work well for the people using them. And at the same time, we started to see people make decisions around who to do business with, not based on a single interaction with a website, but based on the overall service the organization provides across all channels and the experience they have with that organization. And with this, the experience economy took off. And the concept of human-centered design was integral. So human-centered design, as we know, is based on the idea that if we understand people's behavior and what drives them, then we'll become more effective in serving them. It puts people at the center and invites the end user, the person, into the design process itself. And organizations have woken up to the value of design and empathy to the point they're being written about in the Harvard Business Review. And I'm sure you're aware of the increasing popularity of Post-it notes and design thinking among business people. It's basically keeping 3M in business. But seriously, businesses are coming to understand that providing customers with a great overall experience will yield results for their businesses in terms of satisfaction, retention, competitive differentiation, and even evangelism and promotion. But as exciting as that was, I began to wake up to something myself, like human-centered design isn't good enough alone to solve the problems we face. I found that a burning desire had formed within me to make an impact, to channel my empathy toward purpose in my life and in my work. Now, this became particularly clear to me when I met a 65-year-old patient with congestive heart failure, who I'll refer to as Jim. Jim told me with great intensity about the moment he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And he stopped really hearing and absorbing what the doctor was saying because his mind was racing. He told me he was overwhelmed, confused, and alone. He had absolutely no one to turn to. He didn't know what to do first or what to expect. I was struck by his story, but even more so by the fact that we weren't providing him with the crucial resources that he needed to make it through this crucial transition in his life so that he could get on a path to better health and not end up in the emergency room. And it wasn't like his case was unique. We know fully the changes he needed to make to his diet and his lifestyle and how difficult it can be to make those changes. But this man was lost in the system, and he isn't alone. Now, here I'm talking about a life event and the emotions involved in that life event and how they affect this person's ability to make good decisions and make changes. Now, in financial services, we know that people are facing life events all the time. Sometimes they're joyful ones, like a marriage or the birth of a baby, and sometimes they're heartbreaking ones, like a divorce or a death. And if we approach designing those experiences with not just addressing somebody's cognitive needs, but also considering their emotional state, then we'll come a long way. And today we have big, hairy, systemic problems that no one organization or piece of technology in isolation can fix. Got some depressing facts for you here. Brace yourselves. Healthcare costs in the US continue to rise, while our lifestyle makes us sicker and sicker. And more Americans are suffering from stress, anxiety, and depression than ever before. 7 in 10 college graduates enter the workforce with debt, and many never work their way out of it. Our education system can heighten inequality and leave students unprepared for the 21st century global economy. People are saving less and working longer, working an average of nearly 6 days a week, according to Gallup. It's a little different in Europe. Maybe we could take a cue. And over half of Americans don't have the savings to afford a $400 emergency, nor the funds to retire. A new study of the S&P 500 found that companies just don't last as long as they used to. In fact, about 50% of the S&P 500 will be replaced in the next 10 years. And we're coming to understand the short and long-term effects that our actions are having on the human experience and on the planet. But as big as those challenges are, there are also enormous opportunities in front of us. We got ourselves into this mess, and we can get ourselves out of it using our human ingenuity, our positive vision for the future, and our collective action. And it can start with younger generations who are taking a different approach to be responsible, contributing citizens and taking care of loved ones. Past generations looked to bring home the bacon and keep up with the Joneses. Bigger, better, faster was the mentality. And the organizations that they gave their life's work to were dedicated to helping people acquire things. Now, this focus on acquisition led to more stuff, but also left us tired and stressed out as a result. But millennials are wired differently. They aren't lining up to buy their ticket to the rat race. They often get a bad rap as the selfie generation, but many of them want to focus their life's work on something that is meaningful and makes an impact. And so it follows that the organization that they contribute to will be ones that make a difference. And millennials aren't alone. More and more people want purpose in their lives at home and at work. And businesses are responding. Mission-oriented organizations from USAA to Humana and Fidelity are being more customer first. They're designing their businesses with intention to create a place where customers, employees, and stakeholders can all take part in their mission. And this movement is leading people to ask more and more, does this product or service make a positive difference in the world? Does my employer? And how might my career focus give my own life meaning? And that's where we are, trying to humanize our systems from health to finance to education and technology. When you think about the quality of results our well-established systems are able to generate and the potential for the new systems we're designing, it becomes clear how important our efforts here to improve them actually are. I believe purpose-driven organizations will win in the marketplace, and that purpose-driven design will help them to do it. Their technologies will get more investors, their customers will be more loyal. Purpose-driven design aims to solve big problems and leverages the ecosystem to do it, designing the relationships and networks that can direct change and deliver impact. Because we really can't change a system until we consider how it all fits together. Also, because all businesses have purpose. That might sound pretty naive because most of us probably work for organizations that have one purpose, to make money. But John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, who co-wrote the book on conscious capitalism, talks about how seeing profit maximization as the sole purpose of business has done enormous damage to the legitimacy of business's role in society. He says we need to recapture the narrative that the purpose of business is to improve our lives and create value for all stakeholders. And purpose is profitable. In a 10-year study of over 50,000 businesses, Jim Stengel of Procter & Gamble found that businesses centered on the purpose of improving people's lives resonated more strongly with consumers. Not only that, but an investment a decade ago in the top 50 businesses in his study would have been 400% more profitable than an investment in the S&P 500 over that same time. As a society, we're really good at imagining the apocalypse. But can we imagine a better future? An exciting new documentary called Tomorrow moves beyond the doom and gloom of the really scary challenges we face and highlights purpose-driven innovations around the world, from transportation to energy to urban design, economic development, education, health, and food, and explores how we can deliver a triple P bottom line, a positive impact on people, planet, and profits. Purpose-driven design brings the concepts of human-centered design and social impact together for the organizations important to us. So purpose is profitable, purpose is trending, but can it really help us to transform the systems that we rely upon? At MadPow, we're focused on working with clients who have done the hard work of clarifying their purpose, and our approach involves 4 key principles. First, defining the difference we're trying to make in the world. What impact are we hoping to make in people's lives? In addition to our profit objectives, we need to keep asking the question until we get a good answer. And to do this, we need to become students of the problem, intent on listening and understanding so that the right purpose will emerge, not from a group of people in a vacuum, but desired and discovered across the entire network. And guiding design principles that are derived from purpose help us to shift the focus and change the culture. Clarity of purpose can emerge through research by forming a richness of understanding. We know that designing great things requires understanding people's real lives, their emotions, and their behavior. We can do qualitative, ethnographic, and quantitative research to understand our audiences, their needs, their objectives, their obstacles, but we ourselves have still not lived the experience. So as designers and experience professionals, we know we need to bridge this gap in understanding and come as close to the lived experience as possible, attempting to walk in their shoes. Our creativity will be inspired through this immersion in the problem space and by collaborating with people inside and outside of our organizations, because collaboration is the new innovation. Modern innovation isn't just about creating shiny new technologies, but instead springs from brilliant and often surprising connections. And we can understand those connections by tracing people's paths through the ecosystem of interaction and understanding what other organizations that they do business with. And many are coming to the realization that we need to design with people as opposed to for them, inviting them to the table of innovation. We'll have a talk a little bit later on participatory design, which is one way that we do that very thing, collaborating with our customers and partners. Designing for change requires fostering connection inside an organization across various silos and outside that organization, working with others who share our objectives. How we work together, how we partner, how we integrate will all affect our ability to transform the system. So the group of people gathered here has taken part in driving the evolution design over the past 20 plus years, helping their organizations to see design as more than hitting it with the pretty stick and viewing experience as a critical success factor, an essential discipline. And now we're in a new era where the customer is the focus and that thinking is woven into business practice more and more. Well, the future is going to involve designing organizations, systems, and services that deliver economically and socially, because we all pay the price when we fail at that. And the disciplines that will help us get there include service design, behavior change design, systems design, transition design, organizational design, and human company design. So whether you're fans of systems design and transition design, or if you prefer to design micro interactions, there are plenty of problems to solve, large and small. Oopsies. And if the decisions we make every day are shaped by a focus on purpose, then they'll stack up and our collective action will create a sea change. So a couple of examples for you. Employers are now investigating how to deliver total wellness to their employees from a health, finance, and even relationships perspective. We recently partnered with the head of well-being at a large employer to design a program focused on helping their hourly workers improve their financial literacy, set financial goals, track towards them, understanding what behaviors they would need to change that would yield success. And financial literacy programs don't have to be boring or put off in the corner over here. They can be engaging, they can be integrated. For the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, government organization focused on improving literacy for the citizenry, we helped design a program for military participants that involved a game-like experience to explore various realistic financial scenarios with the goal of building personal finance knowledge and prowess. And so this helped our soldiers to be aware of and avoid predatory lenders and other undesirable situations. And financial services companies, as we know, are exploring how to leverage AI to increase access to financial planning and education, and how to leverage behavioral economics to help people take action that is going to benefit them financially. For one client, we designed an AI platform that completely integrates with their digital experience, because well-being shouldn't be siloed, but integrated, and into how our products and services are designed. And when you reorient companies toward purpose, things change. New opportunities come to light. Many of our systems were designed by default. Our task ahead is to design systems with intention that serves people's needs in the real world, as opposed to ones that demand people to serve them with obedience. Through purpose-driven design, we have an invitation to do just that. By solving problems big and small and envisioning a positive future, by asking questions like, what if the health industry collaborated with the food industry to deliver food that has good nutritional value and helps us to change the standard American diet, which is right now known as SAD? And what if banks didn't just help people check their balance and pay their bills, but instead use those as opportunities to help people understand and change their financial behaviors so that fewer people get into debt and more people find their way out of it and get on a path toward financial well-being? Or in our schools, could we change the culture to empower teachers to design a learning experience that best adapts to the needs of their students? Or as a society, how can we shift our focus away from consumption and materialism and towards interdependence, designing to improve our relationships, social outcomes, and our human experience? I think it's up to us as individuals and organizations to make change, to deliver greater vibrancy to the people we serve, to help them achieve their goals, to help them flourish. Is solving wicked problems too lofty a purpose for us peeps here? I think not. I dare say humanity depends on our participation here. Who do you think is going to drive the change forward that we need? It's designers, experienced professionals, empathic visionaries, creatives, innovators, free thinkers, and communicators like us. We are the design. So at the end of the day, we're all designers, opening doors for our loved ones in the hospital, for ourselves at work, and for the people and causes we care about. We are all designing a better future, and all of us can make an impact. So over the course of today, as you hear from speakers and moving forward, I invite you to ask yourself, what is your purpose? What impact will you make? Where will you focus your life's work? Your purpose is calling. I can't wait to see you open that door and walk through it. Thank you.